This is Coach Franklin. You're watching Nittany Sports Huddle.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nittany Sports Huddle post-game show. Here we are at Nittany Sports Huddle. Quintus, McDonald, Blair, Thomas. I want to talk about the 42-39 defeat here at Pitt. This is our third road show, and now we're 1-2.
Yes.
Went out to Illinois.
And lost.
Took one on the chin that we shouldn't have lost.
That's right. Next year, Maryland.
And won a game that we could have lost, but the guys played well. They showed some grit, and we came back and won that game.
Well, we lost today, but I thought for the first time we saw some adjustments that didn't take place in previous games, in previous years, that we was always looking for.
Adjustments where? What be specific?
When I say adjustments, I mean the fact that the way they was playing, that we were
coaching adjustments.
Coaching adjustments, yes.
Playing, okay.
The way that they attack their speed option stuff. Okay. It seemed like they were more prepared to now attack on the outside edge as opposed to what they were doing. They were getting caught inside. So what I thought was going on, that all the players wasn't keying their own keys. They were trying to do too much early on, and that's why they was running with the speed sweep, and now they was handing the ball off inside. So I thought as second half, those guys were more inside on their reads and letting the guys that have to control the speed sweep do their job as well.
I agree 100% that adjustments were made. This was a good example of the Penn State coaching staff growing up, if you will, and actually making adjustments that we have not seen in years past, the adjustments that were made at halftime to actually make this a football game, because the way things were going, had we not made adjustments both on offense and defense, it could have been a runaway freight train. And that would have not been good for Penn State football, for the coaching staff, for Nittany Sports Huddle. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, folks. So our hat goes off to the adjustments, but the bottom line, I believe, players have got to make plays, man. There was at least 60 yards on yards after contact. We talked about the pregame. I mentioned that I gave Pitt many points in the game, not as many as they scored, but because our defense has been suspect in missing tackles. Now today we missed a bunch of tackles early, but yards after contact, even when we shored up the defense. I mean, when a quarterback is not afraid to put his head down and run through linebackers, there's an issue there. So now my question becomes, where's the toughness of our players? Do they understand what bleeding blue and white is? I'm serious, bro.
Well, if you really look at it, this is a bunch of young players that haven't been a part of the tradition of Penn State. We got a lot of guys.
So who's it up to make sure they know what they're supposed to do, what's expected of them?
Well,
is it up to us?
No,
because
actually,
the coaches don't know.
Some of the coaches know. Some of the coaches have been on successful programs, so they know what it takes. They haven't been at Penn State, so it's up to the Penn State coaches. We as former players don't have the access on a regular basis to instill those values or the things that we went through.
Toughness, man. Determination.
But the toughness comes from the change in the practice. The way things are done is not like it used to be done when we played.
That's across the board, Blair. Those guys from Pitt have to practice the same way, and those
they
kids
must be
play
doing more
tough,
tackling.
man.
They were more prepared at the beginning of the game than we were, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
They had more enthusiasm. They was more excited. So, and that plays a lot, and that played a lot in them being successful early in the game. So,
absolutely,
some of the changes kind of settled them down a little bit, and they started getting nervous. You can tell they started getting 3 and out. So they got a little tight.
Our defense stepped up. We made some plays for negative yards.
And some of the offensive adjustments that I liked that we made was when we went across the middle on 3rd and long the first time. We went back to that play a second time, but where was that play in the first, second, midway through the third? Because we didn't do that until late in the game.
The first and second quarters, we were running outs. We weren't running across the middle. The crossing patterns weren't there. We ran Jasecki up the middle, on the seam a couple of times. But what happens is, if the quarterback doesn't have time to set those, our digs, that's a dig, right?
That's a dig route.
So that dig is like 12 to 15 yard dig.
Yep.
So that's another 2 beats for the quarterback to hold the ball. And he didn't have that time.
Yeah, early in the game he did.
He didn't have the time.
And I think I contribute that to not stretching the field early in the game.
We stretched the field. We stretched the field early in the game, I thought.
No,
we threw the ball around, man. We were
everything
throwing the ball
was to the
outside.
sidelines. Everything was.
You're talking about.
I'm talking about going vertical to the house.
Vertical.
Okay,
we didn't
stretching.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about when I say stretch. Stretch the defense. So I think in the second half, those were some of the adjustments that we made. We even hit the deep ball to number 3 going down the left side.
Absolutely.
So those were some adjustments that I thought.
That was a cross. Deep cross.
No.
Well, he was in the slot, but he was a flanker.
Yeah, it was a go.
Well, so adjustments on offense, adjustments on defense. We made a big play on special teams, a couple of them defensively, and a couple really big plays on the offensive special teams, but giving up that 90-yard return absolutely, positively has to come to an end. We can't do that. Each game so far this year, and even in big games last season, we gave up like plus 60-yard returns.
Well, that's attributed to guys being anxious coming into the middle, not staying true to their lanes. And that's what we need, guys. They got to work on those things.
Yeah, so. There's no doubt guys get this peaking, but we can't afford that. Period, point blank. That kick return, I mean, that kid had probably close to 300 yards on all-purpose yardage.
Now, one thing that was a shining bright light was the punting game. Oh my God, that's a big difference in what we had last year. So that's going to help us in field position as we continue to go out throughout the season. Yeah, so that's going to really help.
Well, folks, there you have it. A bit of post-game from we're here at Heinz Stadium. We're RV parking and tailgating and really enjoying the Go PSU RV 3rd annual road show all the way up until the loss. I can't shut this down without talking about the last play. I've got to look and see who this kid is. It's completely unacceptable.
Yeah, I want to look at it again because at first glimpse I was pissed off and didn't think that he put the effort that was needed to catch the ball or even knock it down if he couldn't get it. So I want to see it from all angles to see if he was close enough, or maybe my angle. I know you're going to get saying it's not acceptable. I understand that.
He didn't track the ball.
That's why I want to see it.
He didn't track the ball. He didn't make a single adjustment. He did not track the ball. He watched the ball and watched the defender catch it in the end zone and then trotted off the field, bro.
Yeah, whatever it wasn't acceptable. But
completely unacceptable.
I just want to review it.
And you'd be looking for your jersey, you'd be looking for your cleats, you'd be looking for your clothes, all of your stuff, and it'd be in my locker, son. We got to get tough, period. Those guys beat us to the ball. They made more plays. They were hungry. We got to get hungry, man, period, point blank. We got to play every play like it's our last play.
But I think the coaching staff got to start setting that tempo. They got to expect more of those guys. Absolutely. And challenge them more.
Got to challenge them.
And the one thing that we did Tuesday and Wednesday was always that hitting day where we got the hitting it. Yeah,
we got after it.
Starters against starters.
Right.
So
1 versus 1.
Yeah, you got to get that physical contact in order to play this game, because it's a physical game.
And this is a gladiator sport. This is not a contact sport. Basketball is contact. These are gladiators. If you're going to be a gladiator and you put on the blue and white, son, you better come to play. Period. If you don't want to play, take off the jersey and go someplace else. Period. That's coming from Quintus McDonald, class of '89. Period. NIttanySports Huddle.
We're out.
We're out.
Christian Hackenberg, and you're watching Nittany